Hello, dear friends. The simulation hypothesis raises many questions. Opinion piece. Are we living in a video game? The climax of this movie. Limitations of a simulation. Indistinguishable simulations. It looks like the Wizard of Oz. Like, life doesn't feel real since 2020. Science predicts the end of the world in November 2026. Let's start. An influencer explains that life doesn't feel real since 2020. The year 2020 has crushed our existence on our phones and in the digital world, and we no longer exist in our physical space. She then suggests that we now live in a digital world that isn't even real, and we only deal with problems that are within our circle of influence. In other words, she says that we live in a video game. Video games and computer simulations are becoming more sophisticated every year, moving closer to a realistic representation of reality. Philosopher Nick Bostrom suggests that if an advanced civilization could create simulation indistinguishable from reality, we are more likely to live in one of those simulations. Some strange quantum phenomena could be interpreted as processing limitations of simulation. Also, the fact that we can't observe beyond the setting point in the universe could be compared to the boundaries of a video game map. This idea raises complex questions about consciousness, free will, and the nature of reality that are difficult to resolve. The Wizard of Oz. According to Robert B. Following the yellow brick road basically means following the money. Don't listen to the man behind the curtain. The wonderful Wizard of Oz equal ounces of gold. The yellow brick road bricks or gold bullion. The Wizard of Oz uses magic, smoke, flames, and holograms, but all of those were tricks and illusions to instill fear and obedience to do what he commanded. The truth is that the wizard has no real power and only uses illusions to create false power and authority. The strawman represents that legal fiction writ large that is the person of mask, or mask, I mean. The strawman wanted a brain but got a birth certificate for a new legal creation and was proud of this new legal status, plus all these other legalisms that were bestowed upon him. The demon is a tax ID number, a robotic avatar who worked tirelessly until his body froze and stopped working. The robot creature, headless and emotionless, worked himself to death because he had no heart or soul. He just wanted a heart. The cowardly lion was a bully, but he was a coward when someone stood up to him. He lacks true courage. That was what he wanted, courage. In the end, the magician gave him an award of official recognition, authority, and status. Telegrams from JFK Jr. You are going to love how this movie ends. Black Swan over gold. Something positive is coming. We are nearing the final move and it will be biblical. Light at the end of the tunnel. Blood Moon and the New World. Many big dominoes are about to fall. At any moment, a turn of events will unleash to the unbelievable. The past, present, and future lie in the palm of your hand. Game over. Keep praying the toughest times are coming. Have faith, stay strong. We will win for sure. We were never told it would take this long, and maybe that was a good thing. If I had been told it would take 4 years, I don't think I would have been able to handle it. But it's finally happening. Don't let them reprogram you. You don't want to miss this. Curious. The pyramids of Egypt were built using an incredibly clever machine never new research suggests. Extraordinary giant structures discovered beneath the surface of Mars. First image of a spherical Earth and moon Phobos from Mars. The largest gold nugget ever found weighed as much as an adult man. A 64-year-old Thai woman struggled for 2 hours with a 4-meter python that tried to suffocate her on Tuesday night. It took half an hour for rescuers to free her from the snake's coils constrictor. A study published in the prestigious journal Science predicts that the end of the world would come on November 13th, 2026. The study was prepared 64 years ago by the Austrian physicist Heinz von Foerster in collaboration with researchers from the University of Illinois at Chicago. I published this prediction out of curiosity, but I don't believe in it. Science in the sky. The fall of 2024 in the Northern Hemisphere will start on September 22nd at 2:44 p.m. official Spanish time. Earth's magnetic field is still reverberating from the impact of a coronal mass ejection on September 16th. The asteroid hitting toward Earth will be a minimum for 2 months. It will orbit Earth between September 29th and November 25. 3 spectacular events are taking place this month and next. A lunar eclipse that has already occurred this week, the comet of the century that will begin to appear in the night sky later this month, and the Ring of Fire solar eclipse on October 2nd. It is highly unusual for so many historic celestial events to occur so close to each other at a time, when our planet is descending into a state of chaos prior to a new, more just order. Economy. Fed cuts rates by half a point and begins a cycle of rate cuts in an attempt to avoid an economic slowdown. Wall Street closes with losses after the Fed cut. Gold rises to a record level after the first rate cut since 2020. Bitcoin falters after the rate cut. Weekly Martish demand rises 14% of interest rates hit their lowest level in 2 years. Financial revolution. BRICS challenge existing concept of security, and the European economy is in trouble. 5 countries are in a race to secure critical minerals: China, Russia, US, Saudi Arabia, and BRICS countries. Generalist investors are often the last to recognize this change. In the future, the world will be awash with digital tokens. However, only one thing endures over time: gold. Central banks understand this. The Bank of Canada is the only one of the G7 that doesn't hold gold reserves. A total of 134 countries, representing 98% of the world economy, are exploring digital versions of their currencies. Tangibility is very powerful in a digital world. 40 of the world's leading commercial banks have joined a G7-led pilot scheme with the New York Fed and major central banks in Europe, Korea and Japan for a new digital currency platform. The Agora project involves 7 central banks and will aim to see whether tokenized bank deposits can be used in combination with central bank digital currencies. The BRICS group is working to create a new payment system without the integration of the dollar into its mechanism. The new system will not only be used to settle cross-border transactions, but will function as a complete financial system, as it will include trade operations, investments, and settlements. This development could attract emerging economies and lead to a paradigm shift in the financial sector. De-dollarization is the most resonant word in the financial sector in Asia, Africa, and South America. Emerging economies are focusing on raising the level of their local currency on this global stage. Sanctions are which pushed this plan, and China took this opportunity to include the yuan in trade agreements. Opinions. Poet Dog thinks we must wallow in darkness for a while. It is a peculiar rite of passage that we go through on our way to the light. Trump says Putin and Xi look different now. Are they doubles? Trump threatens to impose 100% tariffs on countries that de-dollarize their currency. Trump and Harris remain silent on rising public debt and fiscal policy heading towards default, according to Bloomberg. If Kamala was ahead in the polls, they wouldn't try to kill Trump. There is a mole in Trump's team, according to JFK Jr. Does it make sense that Kamala has lost track of more than 325,000 minors? ABC News reports that Trump plans to start courts martial against his enemies when he regains power. ABC News demanded Trump to answer questions about Ukraine, refusing to accept his peace plan. RFK Jr. and Donald Trump Jr. negotiate with Moscow to end the war in Ukraine. Strange things. A wave of explosions of packet tracking devices belonging to Shiite group Hezbollah shook Lebanon on Tuesday. Another wave of walkie-talkie explosions sweeps Lebanon a day after a pager attack. Trail of exploding papers in Lebanon leads to Taiwan and Hungary. Taiwanese manufacturer rejects link to Lebanon exploding paper attacks, names Hungarian firm. UN General Assembly demands end to occupation in Palestine. Mike Adams believes that governments can remotely detonate electric devices, including pagers, cell phones, laptops, tablets, or even Ethernet-connected appliances and electric vehicles. Europe. EU coup, more taxes with fewer exemptions. European markets close lower ahead of Fed rate decision. Eurozone inflation fell to 2.2% in August, its lowest level in 3 years. Hungary refuses to pay fines for violating EU asylum rules, but Brussels keeps the money anyway. Google wins court challenge to EU's $1.7 billion antitrust fine over its advertising products. Russian gold reserve hits new record $188.8 billion. IMF postpones assessment of Russia's economy amid anger from 9 European capitals. Switzerland abandons its neutrality as the Senate rejects the ban on participating in NATO military exercises. Spain. Wave of cayucos to the Canary Islands coasts in the last hours. Immigration becomes the main problem for the Spanish, according to a survey. Feijóo compares Sánchez with Franco and accuses him of imposing censorship and persecution. The Spanish Senate recognizes Edmundo González as president-elect of Venezuela. Americas. The Venezuelan parliament presents an agreement to break relations with Spain. The UN report attributes crimes against humanity to the Maduro government. González denounces coercion to recognize Maduro's victory in exchange for leaving Venezuela. Mexico calls for equality and respect in its ties to the US and Canada. Argentina's GDP fell 3.4% in Milei's first 6 months due to a decline in construction, manufacturing, and trade. Peru declares a state of emergency in several regions due to forest fires. Putin shows willingness to help Brazil recover from forest fires. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.